YouTube, my name is ADC Art Attack, his name is Bob, and welcome to an episode of Sketchbook Sessions. This is a series I wanted to revisit where we just draw. No fancy edits, no fancy camera angles, we just draw. I think there's been a lot of changes over the years to the niche on YouTube, particularly with entertainment taking the focal point of the art niche. It could be argued that we've lost the heart of this community. So, let's get back to basics. Now this is a book I actually haven't looked inside for a while, so my gosh. Okay, I remember this actually. I remember, wow. A long time ago, we did some sketch sessions and this was 2018. And I remember that whenever I work in a sketchbook, I like to just draw things that I like, things that make me happy, things I'm interested in, which I think is the point of a sketchbook. It's not meant to be something that is super creative, it's just meant to be something that is just, well, it is kind of creative, but it's mostly meant to be fun. And I think that relaxation, fun, these are things that don't really resonate too much these days in this community. But some of these drawings are actually half done actually. Yeah, I definitely, oh, that's pretty good. Well, I like that one quite a lot actually. Wow. I used to actually be a pretty good artist. Huh. I actually remember this drawing. It was showcasing how to use only one color per area and the rest of it was done using the same gray markers. So all of the shading here is just using one gray marker. And that's something that I actually did in reverse here, whereby I did the pencil shading first and then I used just one color on top of the pencil shading to create the effects that we've got here. And then this one was obviously, again, just using the color bases and the grays to create all of the shading across all of the colored areas. And that was a very basic drawing. So what I'm gonna do for today is begin my art setup and my art process the way that I do all the time. Now this is a process not many people have seen and not many people know that I actually go through this. I usually begin most of the times that I dive into doing artwork, particularly if I'm doing serious artwork, with a rough sort of fun sketch or exercise. So what I do here, and seeing as this is a sketchbook that has been filled with all of those drawings, I pick something that I like to draw, something that doesn't require any extra thought, much like all of the drawings within this folder or book, and I just recreate it. So I copy, essentially. I look at some fan art and I copy. That's exactly what I'm gonna be doing today with an image of Naruto Uzumaki. And the process is really, this thing is quite annoying, but the process is really simple. It is, I'm gonna take off my hat so I don't disturb you guys. Oh yeah, I've got no hair, sorry. So when I do these sketches, I always do it quite free and quite carefree. I don't want to think about the process too much, and that is precisely why I'm copying. And I'd always suggest when you are diving into doing artwork, if you plan on doing a serious piece of artwork, to start off by drawing something that you can just copy, something that doesn't require any extra thought to achieve a final result. And as you can see, I always draw very messy. I try not to refine things as I go. I'm just trying to get some form on the paper, just something that, you know, just is there. It doesn't really have to be anything. It's just a thing. I'm just doing that. The last thing you should be doing at this stage in the process of doing artwork is overthinking, especially when you are just warming up. You don't want to think about the process at all. And every time that I draw, I actually do sketch very similarly to the way that I'm doing right now. I'm just visually going as I go. As my eye tracks and follows the artwork that I'm copying, I'm just placing it down. I'm not looking at reference areas. I'm not looking at where things may fit or where things should fit. I'm just looking to get some form and some sort of scribbles on the paper that will help me later on once I start to refine. But as you can see, I've gone off the paper. But having something on the paper is better than having nothing on the paper. A blank sheet of paper is a scary reference point because there is no reference point. So having this scribble down there, it now gives me something that I can build off of. And you can pick and choose any area that you wish to start with. Now that I have this, I'm gonna look at the most central area, which I feel to be the most focal point here, which is probably this arm down here. But what I'm gonna do now is just fall back onto one of those lines and start to refine those details. And again, I'm not looking for accuracy here. I'm looking to have fun. I'm looking to enjoy this process. I want it to be a process that is easy, mundane actually is the term I'm looking for here, because drawing should be something that you do enjoy. It should be a process that is easy and distracts you from the world around you. Now, usually when I am doing things like this, I would be listening to music. Anytime that I do serious artwork, in fact, every time that I do serious artwork, I am listening to music. I rarely ever perform art without the influence of music. I find music to be my muse. It is everything I need. But again, I'm not looking to get those lines or anything too perfect just yet. I'm just gonna start adding, again, still rough, I don't want these to be too clean, but I'm just adding form to the shapes that we already have down. And as you can see here, that means that things like the headband that I had marked out before was a little bit too low, so I can just bring that up slightly. And above all else, something that you need to keep in mind is that you're not refining any of this right now. And in fact, you shouldn't be refining it anyway. This is a warm-up. This is a sketch that I'm doing just to get my, I guess, my hand moving. But one of the beautiful things with artwork is that you can refine it at any stage of the drawing that you see fit. So I'd recommend just getting as much down as possible, not focusing too much on making it perfect until you have enough down that making it perfect is as simple as just retracing over the lines you already have down. And believe me, I know that sounds complicated, but it really isn't. So you see right here, I start to add some shading, and that shading is just to solidify those areas and give me a little bit more perspective on what it is I'm working with here. And I don't mean perspective in the sense of dynamic perspective. That's something I rarely ever care about. But it just tells me that this area is separate from the next area. It makes things a little bit easier to see, a little bit clearer. And again, that's what this whole thing is about whenever I do my artwork. It's about making it easy. It's about making it enjoyable. I've always been a firm believer of why complicate things. It's actually why most of my drawings you will see in my folders are completely unfinished. And even in this one itself, were unfinished. Because there was a saying that I once heard, which actually goes back to gambling of all places, but I took it as quite influential. And that was, when the fun stops, you stop. There's a fly. And again, as you can see right here, I don't really care too much about getting these things accurate or making sure that any of the creases or whatever look right. But this entire process doesn't mean that I want the drawing to look bad. I should say that. I am still a content creator, and I know that people are going to be seeing this in the thousands. So when people are seeing my content, of course, it can be a little bit disheartening if they see it and they think, oh, that looks terrible. Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to, but it is a skill to be able to put aside your ego when it comes to artwork, and it is a skill that I believe everybody should learn, to be able to set aside your ego when creating artwork. But I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of at a point where I no longer feel interested in drawing this, so I am going to now stop without completing it, but that's it. That's my warm-up. But that is it, that is my warm-up. That's how I do my drawings. And sometimes I might want to add some extra, say, warm-ups by including fine liners, inking, something of that nature. But as it stands right now, I feel pretty good. So I'm ready to dive into an actual sketch. So what I'll do now is I'll just turn the page from this one and I'll start doing something more final. And it should also be noted, sorry, that this drawing took me 15 minutes. So this is a 15-minute light sketch, and I was talking over at that point. So I was talking while also sketching, which massively delayed and slowed down the process, but it can be that quick. It's a very quick process, and it isn't something that requires too much time. Now, a drawing, which I'm about to do right now, is probably gonna take me a little bit longer, but I try to aim for less than half an hour. This isn't a strict guideline, but I try to manage my time as best as I can when I'm drawing. And that's purely because drawing is a hobby. Now, it is something that I do until I've had enough, but also limiting my time and ensuring that I am doing it at a timely pace. It keeps me from being too invested in the process, but also keeps me from exhausting myself. Because exhaustion is directly tied to art block. It is something that can impact your mind and put you in a position where you just no longer want to create anymore. By doing the things that you love sparingly and by treating them as they are, treats, you find satisfaction in those processes. You enjoy doing them. You enjoy revisiting those processes each time that you pick up the pencil. But of course, we are all different. Some of us draw religiously. We spend a very long time and much of our day sat at a desk drawing, and that is totally fine. I myself don't find comfort in doing that. I find that I need to get regular exercise, and that if I spend too much time doing one task, I will get bored. But not everyone is like me. However, if you are finding yourself in a position where you are struggling with some form of art block, then I would suggest doing art in small breaks. Do it in intervals. Do it in moments where you are genuinely interested in drawing, where it is something that you genuinely want to dive into, but bringing yourself away from it just when it starts to feel a little bit tiresome, a little bit exhausting, and when you start to feel yourself putting in more effort than you are just having fun. That can be a very difficult thing for us to notice and to recognize within ourselves, but it is something that I think you should try to identify. Take note of the way that you're feeling. Are you still enjoying the process? Are you working because you're enjoying creating? Or are you working because you want to get to the finish line? Because you want to see a final result? One of the things that helped me identify my passion for artwork and my interest in artwork was to remove the final product from my mind entirely. When I pick up a pencil, I am not working to finish the drawing. Why would I start something when my entire goal is to finish the very thing I've picked up and started because I wanted to do it? To me, that doesn't make sense. It's like going to a movie, watching a movie, and saying to myself, gosh, I can't wait for this to end. Why? So ensure that you are enjoying the process. Make sure that what it is that you're drawing is something that you like, something you are passionate about. Because if you aren't having fun, then you may as well stop. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. This is a test video. This is a little bit shorter than the videos that I want to do within this series, and of course it doesn't fit as much content in as I would like to. If you would like to see more sketchbook sessions, please do let me know with a like rating and a comment under this video letting me know what you'd like to see. I fully intend to branch out more with this series, create a series of artwork in my free time. Not all of them will be done in real time. I'll be doing voiceover because I do draw. I spend a lot of my evenings creating artwork, original artwork mostly, but I do draw quite a lot, and I'd love to capture those, record those, and share those in one complete episode of a sketchbook session. I'd also like it to be noted that I am relaunching my ASMR channel, a channel dedicated to just silent sketches. So if you'd like to enjoy that as well, I will also be whispering and providing you with some voiceover, but the majority of the work will be based around the art itself. Links to that channel can be found down below in the description, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Until next time, take care, bye-bye.